Hello, everyone. This is Brother Jensen. And this week we are talking about the importance of education. And I know you know it's important to get an education because you've signed up for this class. So you must feel it somewhere in your life that it's important. But you've also been reading and hearing from church leaders about why it's important. I just wanted to explain to you my own experience with education. And I'll start with my mother. My mother had 6 children, and she was 8 months pregnant with me. And at the time, my father was diagnosed with brain cancer. Not brain cancer, he had a brain tumor. And he thought that he would be able to have an operation and get it over with and be there for my birth. Unfortunately, during his operation, he died. And so my mother was left with 6 children and me on the way. I was born 2 weeks after my father died. And my mother, of course, was devastated. By the loss of her loved one, the love of her life, basically. Well, long story short, she became an accountant for a gas station, part-time, to help make ends meet. And later, as she got more experience with that, she was able to find a job as an accountant, as a secretary for a brand new credit union. It was the Ricks College Federal Credit Union. Ricks College is here in Rexburg, Idaho, and it later became BYU, Idaho. But she became the secretary of the Beehive Federal, or of the Ricks College Credit Union, and it grew and grew and grew, and um, at some point she was made the manager of the credit union, so that was a great promotion for her. It became a full-time job. And somewhere along the line, she decided to further her education. And this was 50, 60 years ago, so probably 50 years ago. And it wasn't that common for older people to get a degree as it is now, but she went back to school at Ricks College and got her associate degree in accounting. And she graduated, and she was in the newspaper because it was kind of unique that someone that old would get a degree. And when I was old enough, I went to school at Ricks College, and then I went on a mission to Seoul, South Korea. Came back, continued going to school at Ricks College, got married, finished my associate degree at Ricks College, and then went to BYU in Provo and got a bachelor's degree in design engineering. At that time, Texas Instruments in Dallas, Texas hired me. I worked for them for 10 years. And shortly after I started working for them, I started working on a master's degree. The nice thing about that was that they paid for that degree because they encouraged their employees to further their education. So every semester for 3.5 years, I took one class, and in 3.5 years, I graduated with my master's degree. And then I applied for a job at Ricks College and got the job. I think it helped that I had a master's degree. It helped me get the job. And I worked here at Ricks College for 20 years in IT, information technology. And along the line, Ricks College became BYU Idaho. And somewhere around after I'd been there 20 years, I had the opportunity to start working on a PhD at Idaho State University in instructional design. And so as I was wondering whether I should do that or not, I thought to myself, well, if I do it, then in 5 years I'll have a PhD. And if I don't do it in 5 years, the 5 years will still come, but I won't have a PhD. So that's kind of was my thinking on, well, I might as well do it. 5 years is going to come one way or another. I might as well have 5 years come with a PhD and rather than without one. So again, here I go with one class every semester for 3.5 years. And actually, coursework was the easy part because I also had to do a dissertation. And dissertation's really difficult, and I waited and put that off. So after I completed the coursework, at the time I was a bishop, and felt very busy and decided to just take a break. So after I completed the coursework and had not yet finished my dissertation, I took a little break, and along the way, before I knew it, 2 years had passed and I had not completed my dissertation. So then I got really busy and, spent Saturdays and weekends and, Saturdays and holidays and early mornings working on my dissertation. So finally, I did complete my dissertation. I got my PhD. It had taken 7 years total to do that, but 7 years came regardless. I would have been 7 years older without a PhD if I hadn't done it. So, and one thing I forgot to mention was shortly after I started working on that PhD, the vice president of BYU Idaho told me he needed someone to work in hybrid online design. And so I was able to get out of information technology and start a whole new career in instructional design. And I haven't regretted that. It's been a fun, interesting, and creative career to be in instructional design. And it's actually a career where you can always learn new things, and so that's fun as well. So that's my story about education, and it's hard. It takes early mornings, it takes weekends, it takes holidays, it takes dedication. But if you keep with it, if you stick with it, it will finally pay off. So I hope that you will consider how being in Pathway Connect will help you in your personal life, in your spiritual life, and possibly in your career. As you complete Pathway Connect and decide on what certificates you want to pursue, these things will at the very least lift your soul, if not help you in your career. I hope you have a great week. Keep on working hard. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to also include with my video another video of a past Pathway Worldwide devotional, where a sister talks about how pursuing her education in her older age really prepared her to fulfill some callings that the Lord had for her. So I hope you have a great week, and I will talk with you next week, if not sooner.